My husband lashed out at me and told me I'm not entitled to his inheritance money. Now I have more money than him, and I can feel his envy. When my husband and I got married, we didn't have much. He worked construction, I was a receptionist, and we dreamed about one day owning a house. We were happy back then, tired, broke, but in love. Then I got pregnant with twins. It was supposed to be the happiest time of our lives, but both babies were born early with health problems. One needed oxygen at night for his heart. The other had partial hearing loss. Between the hospital visits and sleepless nights, I couldn't keep working. My husband said, "It's cheaper if you stay home. The kids need you." So I did. I became a full-time mom while he worked. A few months later, our landlord asked if I could clean empty townhomes after tenants moved out. It wasn't glamorous, but it was something. My husband said he didn't care, as long as it didn't get in the way of my real job, meaning raising kids and keeping the house running. So I cleaned. I saved every dollar I made in a small savings account under my name. It was my little secret, not because I wanted to hide something, but because I needed to feel secure. A few years later, his father passed away. My husband got a big inheritance. When I asked if we could use part of it to pay down our debt, he snapped, "It's my money. My dad worked for that. You're not entitled to it." That one sentence changed how I saw him. He spent that money on trips with his brothers, new gadgets, things for himself. I said nothing. I just kept cleaning, saving, and taking care of our boys. Then my aunt passed away. She had no children, and I was her only niece. She left me her farmhouse and some savings. It wasn't millions, but it was enough to change our lives. I didn't tell my husband right away. I rented out the farmhouse and kept the income quiet. For once, I didn't feel scared about the future. In January last year, our landlord told me he was selling the building, 6 townhomes total, including ours. My heart sank. Rent prices were crazy, and I knew we couldn't afford to move. Then I did the math. Between my savings and my inheritance, I could actually buy it, all of it. So I did. When I told my husband, he looked stunned. At first he said, "Wow, that's amazing." Then, almost immediately, "So you'll be putting some of the rent money into our account, right?" I reminded him of what he'd said years ago, about inheritance being personal. He didn't like hearing it. He got angry, said I was being selfish, that I was rubbing it in his face. I told him maybe it was time we kept our finances and maybe our lives separate. That hit hard. He begged me not to leave, said he'd sign a post-nup and prove he didn't care about the money. I told him I needed space and left for a short trip to visit my aunt's old place. He stayed home with the boys. By day 2, he called my sister in tears. The oxygen monitor wouldn't stop beeping. One of the hearing aids went missing, and the diabetic one wouldn't eat what he cooked. His mom came to help, but she made it worse, feeding the wrong foods and panicking over the medical equipment. When I came home, the house was a disaster. My husband looked exhausted and scared. His mother was crying, apologizing for messing everything up. My husband hugged me and whispered, "I'm sorry. I didn't know how hard this was." I didn't yell. I didn't gloat. I just held our boys and felt something shift inside me. For once, he understood what I'd carried all these years. Now, the building is in my name. The rent from the other townhomes comes to my account. We don't pay rent anymore, and our boys finally have stability. Sometimes I catch him looking at me when I'm paying bills or checking rent deposits. There's pride in his eyes, but also something else, that quiet envy he tries to hide. And honestly, I can't even blame him. He once told me I wasn't entitled to his inheritance. Now he's living in mine.